All right, here we go. Today we have Corey Pegues, who started out as a member of the infamous Supreme Team, one of the largest and most violent drug dealing crews in New York during the 80s, who hid that part of his life and went on to joining the NYPD and becoming a cop until his career got derailed after he started speaking out against racism in the police department. He has a new documentary out right now called The Cops and Robbers Story, which we're going to talk about in depth. Corey, welcome to VladTV.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Was your first time here? I want to start in the very beginning. So you grew up in Queens?
Yeah, Queens, Jamaica, Queens.
Okay. So what was Queens like in the 70s and 80s?
Yo, let me tell you, man. Queens, it's a middle-class neighborhood. No, commercial strips. It was just, fun. Double Dutch, Skelly, playing basketball in the park, handball. It was all good until the crack era hit about 84, 85. And things started getting a little different. But we grew up good. We grew up good. Family-oriented, single-family homes, 2 rooms, a basement, backyard. It was a nice neighborhood.
Okay. And growing up, you never wanted to be a cop?
Never wanted to be a cop. But what's funny, when we were young, you play cops and robbers. We always played the cops and robbers. But I never really had aspirations on being a police officer.
Okay. So initially, you were just generally a good kid. You were going to school, you were playing basketball, and you were actually pretty good on the basketball side of things.
Yeah, I was nice.
Yep. And then a situation happened during one of your games.
Yeah, situation. When I was in high school, I played for Newtown High School. So, I was from another part of Queens called Jamaica, Queens. Newtown High School was in Elmhurst, Queens. I had took a special aptitude test for an engineering program and got accepted. I wanted to get away from my friends because, we were selling drugs, robbing people, and doing all of these crazy things. So I was able to get to Newtown, played on the basketball team. And one day I invited my friends to come to the game. And they came to the game while I'm playing. After the game, I was in the shower getting dressed in the locker room. Somebody came in and said, yo, your friends are out there. They robbing people. They robbed some people. They cut a few people. But, this is my homies, man. It is what it is. But I ended up getting kicked out of the school because I invited my friends. And what happened was these girls and these guys was talking about me, what they was going to do to me. They didn't know I had, my whole mob from the other side of town there. And it ended up being a really bad night for me.
Okay. And was anyone actually charged with anything, or is it just a bunch of chaos and everyone went their separate ways?
Bunch of chaos. You got to talk about, this is 85, 86. Policing was more of a reactive department. Something happens, we show up, they try to investigate, but they really wasn't really trying to really investigate things at that time. The main issue for the principal was just kicking me out of the damn school.
Okay. And after that happened, is that when your life kind of took a different turn?
Yeah, it definitely took a different turn. See, I tried, Vlad. I tried to change my life, go to a good school. I was trying to actually live 2 lives. I would be selling drugs all day, all night with my friends, and then go to school. This school where nobody knew me. I could just really be Corey. I didn't have to live this street life of Boo life, my street names. And but once that game happened, things changed. And then they sent me to the most violent school in Queens, if not New York City, Andrew Jackson High School.
Okay. And around that time, the Supreme Team was really making a big name for itself.
Yeah, Supreme was big.
Okay. So how did you get affiliated with Supreme Team?
Well, I got affiliated with Supreme Team because one of his top lieutenant, if not the top lieutenant, his name is Bimmy. Bimmy's my man. It's funny because a lot of people think Bimmy's from Southside Queens. He's not. He's from my side of town, which we call the north side of Queens. He's actually from Farmers Boulevard, grew up down, maybe 2 or 3 blocks from LL Cool J on that side of town. So I knew Bimmy from growing up playing ball. Bimmy was really nice with basketball too. So that's why I know him from growing up. And he knew that I was in the streets selling drugs. I had my little crew. My man, Du, Ren, June, 40, it was 4 or 5 of us that was selling drugs. And he knew we was getting it, but he was like, yo, come across town, man. We really getting it over here. Supreme Team was a really big conglomerate. And so I had got into a situation one time. I had a fight with 3 or 4 guys that kind of jumped me. I called my brother-in-law. He came, he stabbed 3 of them in the head. And so I just got low for 30 days on the south side of Queens at my Aunt Belle's house. And while I was over there, I was like, fuck it, I'm here. I might as well get with the team. So I called him and was like, yo, I'm here, man. Let's get it. And that's how I got down with the Supreme team.
Okay, and the Supreme team was started by Kenneth Supreme McGriff and his nephew, Gerald Prince Miller. They started out as teenagers, and I guess they were affiliated with the 5% Nation initially?
Yes. Yeah, they all have 5% in names.
Right, exactly. So they started to build up, and at one point, I guess McGriff got sent to prison for 10 years, and that's when Prince took over?
Yeah, when he was in jail, Prince took over the team.
Okay, and it was really run like a real corporation. Like there was just different levels, there was different like ways of doing business. People were basically put in teams, and I guess they were making about $200,000 a day at their height.
Yeah, we was making money hand over fist. But you bring out a good point, because people always ask me, what's the first job you have? I tell them it was the Supreme team, and I'm going to tell you why. So I had to work a shift. You know, we had 3 shifts, 8 to 4 in the afternoon, 4 to midnight, and then midnight to 8 in the morning. And we got paid on Fridays. You know, usually in the drug game, you get like $20 off every 100 pack. It didn't work like that with the Supreme team. You had a straight salary. You know, it was a well-run machine. You had, you know, Supreme, then you had like your Bimmy, you know, Black Just, those lieutenants, and under them, you had some enforcers, and then you had the street sellers like myself. So it was a well-run machine, and you couldn't do anything without getting word from the top.
Right, but the violence was extreme. They're saying in 87 alone, Prince and Supreme, who was in jail at the time, they're saying ordered at least 8 murders during that time.
Yeah, at that time, it was very violent. You know, it's funny, like people always say like the Supreme team, but you got to understand, New York City was very violent. There was drug conglomerates all over. And just in the little place of Queens, you know, we had Corleys, you had the Furtado brothers, we had, you know, Tommy Montana. So, but, you know, Supreme gets the light on him, I guess, because he was very, you know, charismatic. Everybody knew him. He was affiliated with the hip hop game and everything. But it was violent all over in New York City, period.